Oh, I've just realised that intro is majorly off-centre. Oh, everything is. Oh, God. Okay, anyway, hello, everybody. You should be able to hear me, at least, just while I mess with this. Welcome to another video. This is sort of a little bit of a test video. We're going to do some of the stuff I talked about at the start of the Super Adventure Box Festival. Talk a bit about IRL. Where the hell am I going to do this? And, oh, there we go. Transform, reset, transform? No, that's not what we want. We want to scale it down somehow. It said my base canvas was 1080, and now it's revealed itself to actually be 1440. I swear to God, I actually did set a lot of stuff up before this, but none of that's going to be visible now. Let's just manually shrink it. Screw it. It's just, I have something else, some other overlay on top of everything, and I have no idea what that could be. Oh, it's just an image. Alright, yeah, so, welcome, guys. We are on the, we're at the end of the Super Adventure Box. It's kind of weird, actually. The last video I did was at the start of the Super Adventure Box. Because for this year, for 2023, you probably didn't miss it. They've actually added a preview for the newest world, which is quite interesting. And it's this underground area. I sort of, I think it's okay. I didn't have a super amazing opinion of it, but it's because it's a beta. It's a test map. There's a lot of stuff like, there's no buried chests. There's none of those extra things like blue coins or oozes or, you know, anything really like bomb spots. There's no shops. It's very, very, very minimal. I think now, this festival, I've actually played a lot of Super Adventure Box. I can kind of come back to this with a quick recap impression. By the way, it was somewhat worth doing this every day just because they did put some rewards on there. I think the main thing that's profound to me about this map, now that I've done a whole festival where I've been playing loads and loads and loads of SAB, is this is a very simple map. If this is like the base route, and I think we can at least suggest that that's at least what this is, it's very flat, and it's mostly just walking. This section that we're in here with, you know, the little bit of timed platform stuff, this is about the most actual platforming and timing and stuff you do in the whole map. And it does feel a bit odd coming from, I think the timing will be okay here. I can't honestly say I've done this a ton of times. There we go. It feels a bit odd coming from like the Ninja world, and it feels a bit odd coming from, oh my God, are you serious? That one's on a timer, right? So we might just be able to jump back across. I think it'll be tough though. With the jump dodge, we'll be fine. Yeah, it feels odd coming from the Pain Cliffs. It feels odd coming from the mountain because they are very, very, very jump heavy and they're a lot longer. You'll see once I get done with this little room here, it's mostly just walk and lots of enemies. So it feels more like a kind of a gauntlet kind of level. It feels really like this is world. If we were thinking about a logical difficulty progression for the Super Adventure Box, this feels more like World 2 and World 2 as we know it is actually World 3. Feels like just a minor step up. Even the swamp actually, I think, feels a little bit more involved than some of the places here. And I don't know whether that's because they had development constraints with this. Also, that idea that they're going to do like a difficulty curve through all the levels is really weird and kind of broken with the way that this has been developed, with like one world coming out 8 years after the other worlds or whatever, you know. So they might not even be aiming for it. That's kind of all stuff that we talked about anyway early on. I guess this room had a little bit of platforming as well. But if you notice, it's mostly just like running along this bridge and stuff here. The environments are okay, and I think, you know, in the previous part, I was talking about, oh, it didn't feel like it looked distinct enough. And I still kind of think that's true. There are new colours kind of at play, you know, these more browny kind of yellow colours all over the place. But I don't know, like, I feel like the other levels just feel so distinct and so cool. And even if they filled this map out with a lot more than just monkeys, I don't know whether I'm ever going to love it as much as any of the other World 2 maps, right? I do think it's a shame they didn't play with darkness. I'm remembering now that I've done a whole festival, how often darkness factors into the Super Adventure Box. You've got, like, the spooky dark mountain, you've got, when you play it in Tribulation mode specifically, there's lots of sections in the different levels where they take the lighting away. Like, if you think about the Rapids level at the end, where you've got the falling log waterfalls, you hop across. If you fail, you can go through that second route, through that cave that's hidden in the waterfall. It's all dark in there and stuff too. So again, but maybe that's all just stuff that they'll add to this next year. One thing I will say I am really happy with the idea of, though, is, and I know they had that weird half-joke disclaimer on the website, which kind of poos on this, but the fact that they were happy to just put a bit of a level in kind of makes me think, you know, they've alleviated some stress on themselves to do it all at once, and maybe next year we will see a bit of an expansion to this. And then the year after that, we'll see the new level, and I don't know, that's very slow, but that TikTok-style cadence might work. I don't know. Just some assurance that things are coming is nice. I appreciate how low the standard is slipped. You think about the original festival was released as a surprise to the player base. Essentially, it's an April Fool's joke. All 3 of the first levels and all the infrastructure and everything. And now this year, they've struggled to... Well, I don't know. It's nice to get the preview. And there you have it. All right, so anyway, that's a new world. That was something that happened before. For the rest of the festival, I have been playing a lot. I've been very busy in real life. I may as well talk about real life, first of all. I've been very busy in real life throughout this whole festival because, as I mentioned, I think I've mentioned it in 3 videos now, I was actually having a move. Basically, I don't want to rent anymore, so I'm going to be, hopefully, figuring out a way to get a place. So I've actually got a couple of moves coming in the next while, because right now I'm in sort of an interim place, and then I'll try to find somewhere where I don't have to rent. So, yeah, it's been a bit chaotic, really. And I knew this was coming for a while, all the way through the back half of March, because obviously we're halfway through April now. I did know about this, and what I was doing was I was just... like steadily packing my stuff up, sorting things out bit by bit a day. And my whole theory with it was, you know, I've read a thing that says like getting married and moving are the 2 most stressful things people can do in their lives. And I was very aware of that. And I wanted like a stress-free move. So I just thought, well, I've got loads of time. I'll just do a bit a day. It won't even feel like I'm moving. But then naturally, oh my God, it's chaos anyway when you get to the end of things. So, yeah, there was just a lot going on with that. Today is the first day I feel a little bit settled down. I'm kind of packed into a really small room at the moment with just crap everywhere. And, you know, it's not just the actual physical act of moving your stuff, but it's also all the other stuff, like moving all your bills and your utilities and your addresses and stuff. And I thought I'd got them all and woke up to an email yesterday saying, hi, it's... What's that American International Delivery Service? I can't remember who they are. But sometimes they'll deliver things. I swear to God, I haven't ordered anything. But I got a message saying, hey, we tried to drop a package off at your house. Couldn't do it. You've now got to pay to have it re-delivered, or you've got to go find a place to pick up. I was like, why is this happen now? So, yeah, just lots of little things and hiring different people to do different things. And it's just a nightmare, man. It really is. No matter how much you prepare, it is just a bit of a nightmare. So, what's kind of funny about it all, though, is... So that's basically where I've been the past 2 weeks, throughout the Super Adventure Box. And what's kind of funny is the last video I did was right at the start. And now we're right at the end. And we're bookended. Now, where that comes to affect videos and stuff... Obviously, I'm going to have another one, hopefully, like, not even for the rest of this year, right? So, hopefully, it won't feel like it comes too soon. Though time moves so fast that you never know. It could feel like it's right around the corner. But for right now, the main thing is internet. Anyone outside of the UK, what you have to understand is internet companies are a pain in the arse. One of the problems I've just had is I've called and called. I'm with Virgin Media, okay? I've called and called and called to get my service cancelled. They'll take you through all these systems, right? Try to have you remember this, like, 11-character personal password thing, which I have no idea what mine was. I can't remember it at all. So you have to go through a whole rigmarole to get on with an agent, and then they just cut you off. You get through, and you literally hear them hang up. And then you have to do it again, and you're on hold for ages again, and then you hear them hanging up. So I had, like, multiple days of this, just trying to cancel, right? Because they don't want you to cancel. Even if it's for a totally legitimate reason, like, I don't know. By the way, let's actually check our dailies here. Like, I don't know, I'm moving, I don't need this service anymore. They'll just make it a nightmare for you. So... When I finally did get... So I did something possibly quite stupid and quite juvenile, right? But, you know, I've not moved that many times before. I'm still experimenting with what's possible. I just thought, fuck it. And I cut them off of my direct debit. Now, I did that. I did that because I thought, well, they're going to be furious about that, and they're going to get in contact with me. And that's exactly what happened. So I got woken up by a phone call yesterday of an agent saying blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, I'm happy to pay. So basically, I'm happy to pay for whatever, you know, because you got to give like 30 days notice, right? I'm happy to pay that. But you have to put me on to someone who will actually cancel this goddamn thing. So then they gave me the runaround. I ended up having to go through the system again anyway, so the plan didn't really work. And essentially, now I've had to pay another month's internet at a property that I'm not even at, which is really annoying. But anyway, the other downside to that is, okay, where I currently am, the internet is not very good, okay? So this is really the first thing I wanted to say at the very start of this video. I don't know whether the internet's very good. I just looked at chat, by the way. Hello, everyone. I don't know whether the internet's very good. So I've set a thing up on OBS where I've just gone through automatic. I've let OBS decide what my bandwidth should be, blah, 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 blah. And it's... So normally I'm doing 1440p, 60 frame streams. I really like streaming to YouTube because of the quality. That's like one of the big things that I like about it. And when you look at my Tomb Raider series, which I've done, you know, 95% of, we're on the last couple of episodes of that. When you look at that series, it's pretty, because it's a pretty game, and there's no way that the internet here can handle that. So I don't know what I'm doing about Tomb Raider till that I actually up my connection here. By the way, I never even cancelled my service in the end. They essentially said, "Oh, if you leave, we've given you a ton of discounts because you've been with us for so long." And, you know, I'm not technically on, like, contract anymore. I'm just, like, on rolling because, you know, I've already done whatever we'd originally set up. So so they were like, oh, yeah, we'll give you the same service, which is really fast internet. You know, it is my job, so I've gone for fast internet. We'll give you fast internet at, like, 40 quid a month cheaper or something. I was paying, like, 60 quid a week, sorry. I was paying, like, 60 a month for my internet, which is a lot of money. And they were offering me the same thing for, like, cheaper. So anyway, basically I've continued that, and I'm going to be upgrading. We'll go back to normal, but I don't know how long it will take them. Maybe a few weeks. They said they'll get back in contact with me in like 7 days or something, but I can't just sit around doing nothing for 7 days. So we'll see what we can do. Now, Final Fantasy maybe I can do, because it is an old game, the Pixel Remaster. It might look a bit weird to have videos suddenly lower quality for the last few, but who cares, right? So that might be good. And, you know, Guild Wars, SAB, I spent years doing just 1080p videos on Guild Wars. There's no problem with this. So as long as it's not laggy, and hopefully it's okay to you guys there, as long as it's not laggy, I'm fine with it. And, yeah, hello to everyone. So that's a little update of what's been going on. I'm sure there's more stories and things that I could talk about if I think about them. But that's a little bit of what's been going on there. Well, let me just scroll through chat here. Let me just actually take a quick full stop here. You feel like DirectX 11 made previous sections extremely dark. Oh, really? See, I hate to say it. I feel like DirectX 11 has done so little for this game and for me. As someone who was already using the third-party DirectX, and I appreciate not everyone's in this position, so it's obviously good for the game. I'm not saying it was wasted development or whatever. But as someone committed enough to the game already to have been running that add-on, the game was buttery smooth, and we talked about this on a recent video. Even it felt a little bit smoother than ArenaNet's own one, somehow. Or, like, more solid or something. I really don't know how to describe. Maybe it just felt like there was less latency. There's something about it. I don't know. I don't really have the technical expertise or knowledge, really, to be able to explain it. But as someone who was already using that, I don't really feel like I've seen much. I know that often we'll get patch notes where they'll say, oh, this shader effect under DirectX 11 wasn't really working, and we've updated it. Like when I was doing, when I was raiding with the Spuds and we were getting Voidwalker, the first little bit of our progression we were doing, I don't know if this comment made it into that video in the end, but all the ground telegraphs of like the Void goop looked a certain way. Perfectly functional and serviceable. You know, it's not the prettiest encounter anyway. None of that stuff really was that pretty. The raid stuff clearly had much bigger budgets, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it was like the black goop that say, Kraukatorix spews everywhere looked one way. Maybe the void in the center as well. And then after the update, this was while we were progressing, it changed the visuals. That didn't affect gameplay adversely or anything. But that was like a DirectX 11 tweak. Aside from little things like that, I don't really know what I've noticed that's changed about it, really, ever. But yeah, you haven't played Guild Wars in ages. How's the event available? How long is it available? It looks fun. You're at bad timing, yeah. Someone just said to you, in 6 hours it goes away. I mean, we really are at the arse end of it here. Just as we were at the mouth end. Is that what I want to say? The mouth end of it. Before as well, like the patch came out, people in guild chat, like casually said, "Oh yeah, there's a new world," and I was like, "Oh hell yeah, I'll go to it." Okay, so another thing that's going on, you can see obviously I have Arc on screen, which is weird because that's an overlay, and you guys can see that on OBS. I have a second overlay, however. And that, well, maybe it's not because it's not technically an overlay. Now, that's BlishHUD. So we were talking a bit about BlishHUD. So let's pop that on. Oh, come on. That should totally work. Let's refresh it. I don't want to do desktop capture because I don't know what kind of crazy mess I've got all over the place. Did I run the game as an administrator, so therefore it will not show? Do I just need to move so it will show? No? Alright, fine, screw it. We'll do desktop capture. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Or actually... let's try this. Sorry, it's all a bit ad hoc on the fly at the moment, but you know. Oh, really? We already have... oh, no. Okay. There you go. Alright, you can see it now. Oh! Except no, it's not working. Hold on, where are we? Oh, that is totally bugged out, hasn't it? That's totally crashed. Oh man, how do I get BlishHUD on for you guys? I really wanted to put BlishHUD on. That's really frustrating. Oh, maybe it's an issue with my canvas or something. I don't know. Alright, well, maybe I won't... oh, a big part of this video was I kind of really wanted to show off BlishHUD. Let me try and turn BlishHUD off and then back on. Usually this would work. This is something I probably should have verified before we turn this stream on. But hey, live and learn. The other thing I could try is to run it as admin, but I don't think that'll actually make any difference. Maybe just restarting it was the thing. No, it's back on for me, but you guys can't see it. That's a real shame. Alright, so anyway, I'm using BlishHUD. Usually around this time of year, I end up turning on some kind of overlay setup. Just because it does help so much with Tribulation mode. Specifically with like all the weird skips and all the weird jumps and stuff like that. And usually this is like the one time a year I go for it. Now the funny thing is, in the last video that we did when we were talking about SAB, I mentioned BlishHUD, and I was like, oh, I need to reinstall it, and it looks good, blah 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 blah. You know, obviously we didn't really make videos over last summer. And I seem to have just assumed, I really don't know what happened to my head here. I seem to just have assumed that I'd uninstalled everything and everything was gone. And there was no reason for me to assume that at all, because I absolutely hadn't. I had like 5 installs of Guild Wars 2 still on, you know, I've got like a Guild Wars 2 hook thing. I've got a, you know, I had an Arc thing, I had this, I had a vanilla one, and I had a taco one on there as well. But I guess, and I had very recently, in that year, last year, I had been looking at BlishHUD. Why are we even going this route right now? I had been looking at BlishHUD, and I had a full, complete installation of it with all kinds of interesting modules. And if you guys remember, I did some videos talking about it, where I was showing off like the character module, and I was showing off Just loads of stuff. So finally, when it came to SAB this year, I just I went to install it, and then I realised, oh, it's already installed. I already have it installed, because why wouldn't I have? So I've just been using it, basically, just turned it back on. Now, I heard there was a lot of development for BlishHUD this year, because they had, like, their big 1.0 release, right? They had their full release and so on. And now there were a bunch of new modules around. I had heard that, but I've had a little brief cursory, like, glance at what's available. And it doesn't seem like there's much new that I wasn't using before from last year. It's either that or I just haven't looked very closely. I think there's a new music one. Even that might be old. It wasn't something I tried last year if it was old. But essentially, what it does is it customizes the background music in any number of ways that you like. So I think in their trailer for it, you know, there's that road run amount. I was saying that in air quotes. There's the road run amount where it's basically a chocobo. They have someone gets on the chocobo and then it puts the chocobo music on. They're playing Guild Wars 2, but now you have mount-specific music for that. You know, and you could set that up for any mount you like in the game. Which is, you know, it's okay. That's, I think, the only thing that really caught my eye that seemed to be totally new. The other thing that kind of caught my eye now is KP Me. But I'm not using it because I hate the thing. I really feel like I need to rant about this a little bit here. So I've been playing a good amount of Guild Wars over this period. What I do is I get in and I do exactly what how am I only getting 55% here? I swear, the second I start talking while playing, I get so much worse. Usually you get 50% and then you can burn him in 2. I think we can maybe burn him in 2 anyway here. When we next target him, I think he's going to randomly lose 5% health. I don't know why the game does that. Oh shit, and I didn't pick up another jewel. Normally I have a second jewel here, so we're actually going to miss this and get tongue lashed. So I've been playing a good amount. Before the Super Adventure Box, I was doing a lot of raids. I was raiding every week, basically trying to get every encounter every week. I was doing fractals every day. I was interfacing a lot with that party-based PvE endgame. Now what I've been doing is PvP dailies and this Super Adventure Box stuff that you're looking at right now. What I do is a normal mode clear for Bauble Bubbles and then a Trib World 1, which you'll see as well. And I'll talk to you guys about the loot and stuff like that. So I haven't really been doing that PvE stuff. See, we're down only 13%. So I've got a bit of distance from the PvE endgame stuff at the moment. But I gotta say, I really hate what is happening to the community with Killproof Me. I don't have the thing again. Oh my god. So basically, if you guys don't know, because Guild Wars doesn't really... Because Guild Wars is a bit of a failure in terms of its PvE endgame, it didn't have the regularity it needed. It didn't have... party-based. Obviously, Living World is PvE endgame to a degree, blah, blah, blah. It didn't have the regularity it needed. Communities have been difficult to form. There isn't much of a culture, right? When you look at WoW, when you look at FF14, there's a very specific culture about like having prog groups and clear groups, and there's UI in the game that supports stuff like that. Guild Wars just has this nebulous idea on LFG of training versus experience, and people don't treat it properly. People who don't read the wiki, who don't know what they're doing, always go into the experienced and ruin groups for people who do want experienced pugs. So they need a way to like fit, and Guild Wars has this like very unhealthy, my belief now is a very unhealthy attitude to DPS logging and meters and actually being able to judge one another's progress. So it's kind of like this really ugly thing we're in with Guild Wars where no one wants a noob. People desperately don't want a noob. Even if you can quite easily carry noobs, people want it to be as smooth as possible as they can be, and Guild Wars just doesn't really have the infrastructure or the culture or anything to support it. So what this game does is they go into like kill proofs, right? You ping the item to say, I've done it X number of times, this is on my account, it could only have been on my account if I've done the encounter. ArenaNet then like railed against that because fundamentally the kill proof culture that was forming, and even years ago this started to form, is bad for the community because it gates anyone who wants to. It stops the fresh blood coming in, right? And people don't really care about the greater community. They care about getting their clear in. They don't care about the long-term health of new players coming into the MMO. They care about getting their rewards and getting out, you know? And that's not wrong of them. They're not bad for that. They're not selfish for that. It is an entertainment product, you know? They don't have to subscribe to some higher unifying desire to do ArenaNet's job for them and make the game as good as possible. People just want to get their loot. So they will use Killproof to push out new players and say, fuck it, I don't care if the community shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. Of course, then they'll go on the forums and ask why there's no raid content and why there's no raid players and why nothing's getting funding, but whatever. So, Killproofs are bad, and ArenaNet, you can see there have been updates over the years where, that's my alarm, there have been updates over the years where they've tried to get rid of, you know, items that you could ping, stuff that you could, just to make it a bit difficult. But through APIs and add-ons, the community struck back, and there's something ArenaNet really can't deal with now, and that's basically you beat the encounter, and if you run an add-on and have your KPME account set up, it'll just ding on the account and say, there you go, you've done it, and they will verify that you have beat this encounter this number of times. You have beaten Voidwalker this number of times. You have got this, and this. You know, titles are another thing that players somewhat use. You know, in Fractals, there's this culture of repping Dance with Demons, if you want to get into CMs and T4. But so KPME's existed for a while now, and it's getting to the point where you can't get into many runs without it. So EU is a lot worse than NA, just to be clear. I find most days, and again, I haven't been doing it through Super Adventure Box, I find most days when I pug Fractals, they are, hey, where's your Killproof? You need Killproof meat. Like, it's not like some fringe thing where it's like maybe 1/3 of the user base are doing it. You know, when you actively want to do daily Fractal pugs with the CMs. It's not like just a couple of people do it and they say, oh, do you have it? Can I see it? It's like, this is the culture. This is what people do now. Playing Guild Wars 2 does not mean having a Guild Wars 2 account and a Guild Wars 2 password and that's it. It also means setting up if you want to do this kind of content, it means setting up a KPME account. It means turning it on as early as possible and logging and repping every little thing that you've done in the game so that you can get into more and more pugs. And the more people that do it... See, look at this. I fail even basic jumps while talking. The more people that do it, the more the culture is getting reinforced, and it is snowballing quick. I have noticed, even myself, just over this year, it getting more and more and more and more prevalent. And I really think ArenaNet need to take a second. I don't really mind either way, but I think what ArenaNet need to do is, since they have a historical precedent for trying to fight against this KP stuff, for the arguable overall longer health of the game because of the new players getting pushed out or whatever, I think they really need to make a statement and say, how do they feel about this? Because it feels to me like they're umming and either they're completely ignorant about it because they're not tuned into the game and what players are doing because they're so intimidated by their own game or whatever, or they're umming and ahhing and saying, oh, we'll see where it goes. Well, it's very obvious where it's going. Where it's going is into a landslide situation right now, wherein we are going to be in a place where just everyone really has to do this. And if you're not in on it these years now, you are going to look like a complete noob otherwise. So for me personally, I'm in a weird situation where my sort of view with it, in terms of the broader idea of the game and the broader health of the game and all that kind of stuff, is what I think Guild Wars should do is it should have sanctioned, easy to access, even maybe natively available adoption of DPS meters and logging and the ability to see what other people are doing. And I know that there's this story with the Guild Wars community where people say, oh, but that's toxic and I don't want to be kicked for not having high DPS, stuff like that, right? When we're talking about team-based stuff where you are a team, you're supposed to be doing your best for one another, and we're in high-end stuff where they are requiring the best. First of all, I don't think that that's a bad mentality. Giving people tools to be able to judge and help one another out is and it's sanctioning and saying that those should be a part of the game. I don't see anything wrong with that. But secondly, this thing of it's toxic, you'll get kicked. Well, we're actually in a worse situation with where Guild Wars is right now. We're in a worse situation right now where you get kicked before you even get a chance to prove yourself. You know, with the heavy reliance on the KP culture, it's, oh, if you don't have, you might be very good. You might actually do a lot of damage. You might know the mechanics perfectly. You might know exactly how to tank a thing. You might know exactly how to support a thing. You might know exactly how to do any kind of utility role or whatever. But if you don't have the kill proof, you know, there we're going broader than even logging, of, you know, just like damage stats or CC stats or whatever. If you don't have the kill proof, that's it. You're out. You don't even get a chance. I sort of believe in the more, I hate this word, meritocratic, like, viewpoint, where it's like, well, anyone can get in. There's not a really heavy kill proof culture, but once you're in, the culture should be, if you're not performing well, if you're saying you're in an inexperienced group, if you say you know how to do a thing, and then you go in and you suck, you've had your chance, and now you can be kicked. To me, that's not toxic at that point. The people can demonstrably say, this guy's not pulling their weight, they're out. There should be nothing wrong with that. But we seem to be in a weird situation with Guild Wars right now, where we're doing the reverse, where any sense of kicking or pruning someone once the fight's already going, once the group's already going, that's seen as the arsehole move. But not letting them in the first place is perfectly fine. And that doesn't make any sense to me. That's the complete reverse of the world I think that we should be living in. And I think that's born out of a lot of things. You know, and just the general sense of politeness of kicking someone once you're in. But I don't know. So I think we're kind of in a reverse situation, and I kind of just don't like the whole situation. I especially don't like this thing where we have to create an account with a fucking third-party thing and run add-ons and shit. It really frustrates. It's so many barriers, not just in as, oh, you got to play a lot of the game, but and increasingly more amount of the game as time goes on. But even just setting the shit up, you know, it's frustrating. So I'm not running. I don't have a KP.me account. I don't run KP.me add-ons. I don't do anything. I kind of am a bit of a, you know, prick that's just bristling away at it because I just don't like this weird culture that we're walking into right now. I'm kind of on a high horse about it, right? Like a personal, private, quiet little crusade about it. I just refuse to use it. But it has put me in this weird situation where I've done hundreds of raid encounters over this year at least, right? Since I got Void Walker and started doing that stuff very regularly. I've done so many days worth of CM, T4 fractals and so on and so on. I've done a lot of stuff and literally none of it is logged. So I will look, you know, as like, you know, you can look at the fact that I have high AP or whatever, but people basically gamble on me because I join a team and I say, yeah, I know how to do it. And I can express understanding of an encounter and talk about this or that, right? And there may be markers that maybe I know what I'm doing. But if I don't have KP.me, people don't give a fuck. They really don't. They just say, well, if it's not there, that's it. They don't do any critical thinking of their own. They don't want to have to put that extra energy in, and I don't blame them for that. And that's it. Yeah, that does take me there. I didn't know, because usually I fail that jump. I didn't know if that was going to rocket me in the wrong direction. So I'm in kind of a weird situation now where because I've started this stupid little crusade where I refuse to use KP.me, it's just getting worse and worse and worse for me as time goes by, as I get uncredited success doing runs of various CMs and things. So, and it's odd, but I kind of don't mind being in that position. I kind of don't mind being disadvantaged like that because it sort of keeps me in touch a little more with the new people that are coming in and will be coming in. People who took a break for the past 2-3 years, but otherwise are decent players, know what they're doing and stuff. They're all going to be in the exact same boat, and they're all going to hate the situation, the culture, and they're going to hate it more as time goes by. And, you know, those who are established continue inflating and inflating past the point of being reasonable. You know, their requirements. Well, I mean, maybe it's a self-correcting system, because maybe then their pugs just won't go anywhere. And of course there is this whole thing of just get a static and you don't have to deal with any of that, but getting a static has its own barriers. But yeah, so that's something. Why was I talking about this? Oh yeah, so back to BlishHUD. So here we go, this horrendously long anecdote that has no right to be as long as I've made it. Back to BlishHUD, I've noticed BlishHUD does also have a little add-on for instantly refreshing your KP.me and stuff, which last year when I was looking at BlishHUD, I just really didn't give a fuck about. This year I'm opting out of because of this weird situation I've put myself in, where now, because I've got so many uncredited successes, I'm sort of thinking, fuck it. But I get annoyed, and fractals are the big one. Like I said, it's bigger on EU than on NA. Fractals are really, really. I mean, on NA, I think they'll ask for Dance with Demon title sometimes, but on EU, most fractals I was joining over SAB again, and the move I haven't been doing it. But it was like, oh, you need this, you need, and quite high unstable essence requirements as well. So we'll see. And again, it's not that I think anyone doing it is an arsehole or anything like that. I think people are just doing what people will be naturally inclined to do. And, you know, it's not that I'm judging any individuals for anyone's actual practices. I'm talking in... I think this happens quite often with me. I talk in terms of, like, a broader culture. It's not like a personal jab at anyone. It's not a jab at anyone who made the add-on or any supports for the add-on. I understand why it exists, and I understand why people use it and so on. But in terms of, like, the broader system and the impact it will have for the broader game, you know, that's sort of on the terms in which I'm talking about it, and whether I want to be a participant in that or not. And as an individual, you don't have much impact on culture anyway, so why care? But, you know, that's where I'm being a bit illogical about it all. But yeah, so anyway, there you go. That's BlishHUD. It's definitely good. I really want to show it, because the other thing I want to do on this stream is I want to show you the other thing that I've been doing with my time, which would go so much better with it on. I don't know why it's not showing. Yeah, by the way, this here, I could jump dodge over to that, but since I'm rambling away and chatting about random crap, the likelihood of me making it is very low, so I'd rather just wait. And then we can come through this cave. I always wonder when I'm in this cave, always, whether their accuracy is coded differently to normal bears, because there are so many bears here. If you get caught in their firestorms, it is a nightmare. You will just get knocked and knocked and knocked, and that could be it. You know, they're Molotovs or whatever. And I've had that happen to me in the past, but I'll tell you, all year, I've done every single daily for Super Adventure Books this year. Every single one. I've never done... I usually don't care about that stuff at all, and I'm nowhere near consistent enough. But this is my final daily of the whole festival. Looks like I've missed ooze transportation, speaking of which, for this zone, but that's fine. And they haven't hit me once. They just seem extra inaccurate, and it would seem like a mercy for them to code in that little cave to make them extra inaccurate. Basically, as long as you just make a beeline for the way up, and you're quite careful about it, you should be fine. Of course, not every day I end up going in that cave, because sometimes you just make it the log jumps, and you're fine with that. But yeah. So the reason I'm doing the normal mode run here is for the Bauble bubbles, because I get 2 Bauble bubbles per zone, and then, you know, we'll go along. Now, if you remember last year, I had that big break. The break started basically during the Super Adventure Box. I mentioned this in the last part, during the Super Adventure Box. So last year I did very, very, very little. And they added a bunch of new items, which I'll show you guys in a second. So if I want to, like, keep up, air quotes, if I want to, like, have a lot of unlocks and so on, what I really need to do is I need to catch up with last year as well, and to a certain extent I need to catch up with the year before as well. So much catching up required. So this year I've been going pretty hard with it, you know, because I've been busy. I really have been busy, and I get limited time really to play, and I basically dedicated it all to a little bit of PvP and this mostly. It's funny because it usually feels very, very quick to me. I'll sit down, I'll get a cup of coffee in the morning. That's something I don't have right now. And it'll just sort of fly by. But here, chatting through it, it's actually dawning on me just how much time I'm spending doing this each day. Because, Christ, we're only on the Pain Cliffs. Did I not take the shortcut worm? No, I did take shortcut worm. Usually, what I'll do is I'll ignore the bonus daily objectives, you know, like ooze transportation, stuff like that. I'm mixing up Tribulation routes as well, by the way, which is, I think, what's happening. What's happening is I'm distracted, chatting. I'm seeing a BlishHUD marker, and I'm walking, following those, and they're the Trib ones, which is actually slowing me down slightly, I think. But yeah, I'll skip, like, ooze transportation. I'll skip, you know, we've actually already done our daily here. And that's just from progressing through the levels. It's maybe only one every 3 or 4 days. I'll have to do like a bonus thing. And usually what I'll do is I'll do like something in World 1 or whatever. World 1, Zone 1 if you can make it as well. The worst thing is when you have to do like the Bumblebee race or whatever in the hub. I'll tell you, I missed that by what must have been like a third of a second the other day. I was like doing the race and I was thinking I'm not going to have enough time for this the whole time. And I got so close, and right as I swear I touched the finish line, it went to 0 seconds. It was brutal. It's such a long race as well. It's like 5 minutes to go around the whole hub. I really underestimate how long it takes me to do the flying section. And if you miss just one of those little clouds... Oh god, it's a nightmare. Ah, he managed to hit us. The worst thing that can happen fighting these guys is you accidentally pick up a fish, which I just did there, but it was at the end of the fight, while swinging, and now you can't hit anymore, and then you get beaten up. Oh, I've really got to keep up with chat here. Oh god. BlishHUD is an overlay, isn't it? Sorry, these messages are probably quite old here. BlishHUD is an overlay. It's not part of Guild Wars, so I guess you'd have to screen record. Oh, that was while I was messing with it. Yeah, I do know how to do it. I put overlays on all the time. I can't tell why it hasn't here, but that's probably because my whole OBS setup is very different at the moment, because I didn't know whether... I basically went and defaulted as much stuff as I could. Because I didn't know whether the lag... you guys would be watching like a really frame-lossy stream or whatever. Does it look like it's giving you 60 or 30? Just to ask a question there to anyone who sort of has a sense. I mean, a lot of you guys might not even be watching. You've probably got it all tabbed, or it's just a little window or something. This is the first year you've ever bothered with Trib. My guides helped a ton. Oh, thank you. You know, I was talking to Mike the other day on Discord, and I noticed he'd sent me a bunch of messages. And I think he said he was using those. He said he was using my Trib guides, which I thought was weird, because I don't remember when I did those. What I was doing was I was doing, like... I was doing Patreon videos, so what I do is I do a whole wave of Super Adventure Box content, like normal mode runs, bonus achievements, whatever, you know. That's the Super Adventure Box coverage I did. I tried to treat like my Let's Plays, where I really gave you everything I possibly could. So they were very exhaustive. But then what I would do with those is I wouldn't upload them until the next year's festival. So if you were on Patreon, you got them a year early. That was a very old project, so I can't remember. So everything I did was like slightly out of date and slightly offset. And like I said in the last video at the start of this year, I still have like a couple of blue coin videos that I need to upload, but I just don't think they're that interesting. I mean, this month probably would have been a perfect time to do it, actually. I don't have anything else going up, so why not just shoot one of those off? But then I think that'd be a bit weird, because people are like, what's going on? He's not told us anything, and then there's this random old thing. So, yeah. So ring the bell. Here's my little method here. I ring the bell first, which is a bit dodgy, because if you fall or die, I don't actually know what happens. If you die before you hit that checkpoint. In the first world, if you die after the worm, you get a new checkpoint. But yeah, I don't know. And then what I do is I hit the checkpoint, I come up to the cage. We break the cage. And then the clever thing happens after the cage. And I know what you're thinking, but WP, it's the end of the level. Oh my god, that's so bad. Right as I flick my eye to the other screen. Oh my god, see, and I know... All year I haven't actually... You know these things where you have to jump at the perfect time so you don't backslide? I haven't slid down anything. Even when I did, well, the next level in Trib. Oh my god, are you serious? 5%. And then, you know, there's that horrendous slope. There's that crazy long slope with the polar bears on it and everything. Oh, I was very impressed with myself, but oh well. Alright, there we go. So what we do is we break the cage, get your baubles. Now you've got 25 seconds. And then during this timer, you get this chest. For another 20 or whatever that is. 50, 20? Some big amount. Which is pretty good. Here's something I still don't know, if you guys want to give me some advice on this. You see how I'm 775 right now, and when I pick up baubles, I'm not seeing it go up. Isn't there something like isn't there like a bauble pouch upgrade or something that you're meant to get? Which means you can't collect any over the cap or something. Isn't that a thing? See, I haven't been too sure about it, so it's a bit of a waste of time. But so what I've been doing with all of this, but see, I noticed that when I collect the daily rewards, the number does increment. But when you collect regular ones, it doesn't seem to. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But what I do is, if I ever see I'm over 750, just to prevent that fear of overcapping, I just come to this vendor real quick and just trade them down. Get the 3 bauble bubbles, and then return to whatever I was doing between the levels. And that might be a complete waste of time. There might be absolutely no need to do that, because what might be happening is I'm still getting them, it's just not registering it on that UI or whatever. Because obviously there's no 4th digit on this, so they have no way of representing over 1,000, so it has to cut off at a certain point. I mentioned this last year. What did I mention last year? That was probably from something a long time ago. You remember seeing a group for over 2 hours asking for CMs with 20k UFE, and it didn't go over 2 people. At that point, why not lower the requirements? They could have cleared it 3 times by then. Well, I mean, with stuff like that, I really haven't. That happens, right? I really have no interest in that. That's fine. That's just an individual's decision. If they wanna, if to them it's less annoying to just stand AFK in the lobby than try to carry someone bad, that's fine, that's their decision. It doesn't matter, you know, if someone was to put a ludicrous requirement on and wait hours and hours, and you're right, that kind of shit happens all the time. The thing that I like most, my greatest nerd satisfaction with that whole story right now, is when I join a group that I never advertise. If I'm actually hosting a group, I never advertise, whether I'm raiding or anything, and it really doesn't matter that much, to be honest. As long as you have certain people doing the certain key roles, especially in raids, it really doesn't matter. My greatest nerd satisfaction is when you join a group that never had any requirements at all, and you just all blitz it, and clearly everyone knows what they're doing, and that's it. It's just over, and that happens fairly commonly, I would say, as well. So, I really like that. If someone wants to have a ridiculous requirement and wait for ages and ages, you know, that's their call. That doesn't really say anything, I don't think, about the longer term health of the systems at play or whatever's going on there, you know, so, but I do think it just, I rambled for ages about that. To put a capper on that whole conversation, I think the point I'm really trying to make is, I see this is accelerating. It's becoming more and more and more of a thing. The requirements are becoming higher. The cultural expectation that people should be running it all the time, you know, because the conversation I am having more frequently than ever now is I'll say, no, I'm not using KP me. I know the fight. Kick me if you don't believe me, basically is what I say. And more and more and more now, I get people saying, well, why aren't you running it? Everyone runs it. It's natural to run it. Running it is the thing. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you know, like, and that expectation, that understanding that the default is you conform to this thing, that's becoming a bigger deal. And I do think that leads to a place where those scenes are going to be even hard. And those scenes are so dead anyway. Those scenes have so little traction and are so difficult to justify funding for decent content. And obviously the content they did for that over End of Dragons was good, but also clearly much more budgetary than the raiding stuff that they did. You know, it's already hard enough, you know, so that's kind of the conversation I want to have. I see it is an accelerating thing. It is a thing becoming more significant over time. And I want to see ArenaNet make a statement about it, or, you know, and figure out what they think about the thing, and do something with it. And this kind of ties into the, and then we'll go from there, you know. But I think it's hard to follow a company that's so silent on so much stuff. You know, when we talk about communication, this is the kind of thing that I think where it matters. But yeah. Anyway, back to chat. Let me see here. I do have lots of other stuff to talk about, but I don't want to do it all before we even get to Trib. This was your first year... Oh god, chat just jumped real fast. I think this year's new finding was the wall jump against the bottom of the final checkpoint, so you don't have to ring the bell to get to the boss. The wall jump against the bottom of the final checkpoint. Oh, I don't know whether that's new, man. There are some Super Adventure Box speedruns that are insane. I've seen a speedrun of that level, the Pain Cliffs, from years ago now, where it's Trib, you know, and you know how in Trib you have to, at the start of the Pain Cliffs, you have to turn around and do like that long walk, that long jumping thing in a really meandering way, because basically all in front of you is spikes in the Pain Cliffs at the start. I saw years ago a speedrun where someone jumps on what would appear to be an invisible block. It's like this, okay? You see this wall here? You see how it's just an edge, right? They just jump like this, but they hook for what must only be a millisecond on the edge somehow, and they jump again. And then with that added height, they get over the spikes. Let's say this is the spikes right now, they get over them. It's just crazy. And I look at that and I'm like, what? How have you done that? And that was years ago. I assume that, and that was very optimized and very wild. There's a lot of dig spots here, by the way, which I could go for, but the truth is I don't actually need baubles anymore. And I'll show you guys why, so we're going to just move on. That teleporter we just went through, the skip through most of the level, I used to hate so much, and I guess I still do to a degree. Because it's just like, oh, here's all this cool content, but MMO players don't want to see it. They just want rewards, so let's fucking skip it all. That's somehow a good update. It really, really, really crushes me to see updates like that in the Super Adventure box. But, you know, I've done the daily so many times this year that I'm kind of on the other side of the fence at the moment, where I'm like, oh, thank God this is it. Because to tell you the truth, here's the reality of the situation. If that checkpoint wasn't there, I would probably have been skipping this level all festival. And I wouldn't have seen any of it. So, you know, let's talk pragmatics here. Let's not be idealistic about it. Let's just accept the fact that sometimes you've got to put shit like that in. That's kind of the argument that I'm seeing with that for now. I think the best world... Oh, by the way, here is the craziest dig spot in all of Super Adventure Box, in my opinion. This is the craziest dig spot. So, where are we right now? We killed the Yeti, and there's a teleporter with a checkpoint. And what we're in is just like a little cinematic, oh, here we go kind of moment. The checkpoint gets, if you're in a party, everyone together. And then you hit this teleporter and you're away. It's Bauble Betty. We know that there's the huge Storm Wizard fight after this teleporter. So there's nothing here. So when we look at the terrain, you might think, oh, maybe there's a dig spot here, you know, a bit like Deepstone, the Light of Deltamore, you know, might ping a spot here. But there's nothing, and it's all ice, and you can tell it's just this is just a function of getting people together to go through the teleporter, set up this big fight, give Betty Bauble a place. But there is a dig spot here. And what you have to do is avoid... You're on ice physics, first of all. You have to avoid accidentally touching that, because that will irreversibly teleport you away. So you cannot touch the teleporter. Incredibly fiddly. And what you have to do is do a banana jump. Ugh, a really tricky banana jump, because you got to get the right momentum for it. Around here. Ugh. And then, even here you're not at a dig spot. Down there is like a little platform, and we already know, because we've probably died doing the jump, that you just fall and fall and fall. There's been countless of those on this level. Loads and loads of little platforms like that. Why would there be a dig spot there? There's no like little rubble telegraph or anything. There's nothing. We're basically breaking the game here. We shouldn't be here. If there is a dig spot, you might expect it to be up. But no. They're actually, and even here, it's not square enough to host a chest, you wouldn't think. But no, there is a chest there. And thank fuck for it, it gives you 50 baubles. That, to me, that is the craziest dig in the whole game. And what's quite kind of nice about it as well is it's not too off the beaten path, so you can get it every run. Alright, Storm Wizard. Good place to chat. Oh, here we go. You start with a max of 250. Upgrades can increase it to 750. Pop-ups bypass it. Yeah, okay. That is the behaviour that I thought it was. So I probably should have refunded earlier on this video, because I was at 750 for a while, wasn't I? The Storm Wizard is a bit annoying. You have to decide if you're going to use your elite to kill the Yeti, or you're going to use your elite here. The elite here is nice. Sometimes the Storm Wizard dies really quickly. Like, what he's going to do is reposition here. Well, he's going to teleport now. But if he repositions just one segment, you don't get much damage uptime. And in that case, the elite is really good. There, I just played that the worst way. We could have hit him, but then you have to back off. And then he hit us, because I did nothing in the right timing there, because I'm explaining this other thing. But the elite isn't worth using if he runs really far away. So here, he's evading. When he stops evading, you can get like 3 hits in, then you have to back up because of the electric pulse. And then, yeah. Anyway, so if we had the elite, this would be over already. I always want the elite here, but the Yeti is just so annoying. I actually don't know what the correct technique for fighting that Yeti is, and I would be surprised if in my other videos about SAB, I've ever actually shown that off. That was weird. He phased right during the teleport. I thought I'd broken it, to be honest. The daily ones are in your inventory and they don't stop you opening. Well, aren't they all in inventory? They're not all in inventory then, no? Wait, he stands in the middle of the Yeti. Wait, who's he? Me? Are you judging the way I fought the Yeti? Yeah, because I don't know how to fight the Yeti. I just YOLO it. I YOLO. Basically, get up the hill and use the elite, and if he kills you, who cares? You'll get your elite back. Use it again. That's the way I fight the Yeti. I can get up there fairly comfortably, but the rest of it, yeah, I don't know. Oh, you can boomerang stun lock. See, the wizard. See, I've tried stunning the Yeti before. But it's always felt really unsatisfying trying to stun the Yeti. Because I'll stun the Yeti, and then what he'll do is... Yes, he'll be stunned, but he'll get a frame where he can animate again. Because I don't know how many attacks I can do between the... I mean, maybe the whip is the way to stun lock him. I don't know. But basically, we're late with this, but it doesn't matter because the burn phase is huge. And then when he gets that one frame for an animation, he'll start throwing rocks or whatever, and then, you know, ice squares. It's pretty annoying. By the way, I think you can one-burn the dragon with the big bombs, the mega bombs, and I think that's true of the frog as well if you're perfect, I think. But I don't really practice those techniques because they take my currencies away, and I'm here for the currencies. Well, this year I was anyway. Next year I won't be because I'm pretty flush with stuff. Oh, are you serious? Also, dying on the Storm Wizard doesn't seem to matter anymore. I swear it used to reset the fight, but it doesn't anymore. Has that not been true for ages? There's so many weird little details I've forgotten. I'll tell you what, I actually forgot a huge detail about Super Adventure Books this year. I kind of am having fun, air quotes, tracking my memory of stuff and just how deteriorated it gets. Because I noticed a few years ago now that there were lots of things I used to know about Guild Wars that do fall away. Like when I got back into raiding and fractals and stuff this year, I'd forgotten so many things. Things that I've, you know, spent hours on, made videos about, guides and stuff, and it's like, oh, I don't remember this mechanic, you know? Especially like Kadim and Kadim 2, I'd forgotten so much about them. Anyway, so, and I'm kind of like trying to keep a log of like how much that knowledge is falling away, because you'd expect to just know it forever. But I'll tell you what I forgot, right? And this will blow some of your minds that I forgot this. And when I say forgot, I mean completely forgot. I mean like, I spent days, so there's these bonus objectives like ooze transportation, right? One of them kept coming up, and it was Environmental Science 201. So what that means is break the stump in Zone 1, in the Rapids level, okay? Zone 1 of World 2. Break the stump in the Rapids level. And I kept looking at it, and I could avoid it, because I didn't need to do it, just as I don't need to do ooze transportation here. So I could avoid it, but every time it came up, I was like, okay, suppose I want to do that, because I'm doing the level anyway. Where is that? And I couldn't get it. I knew that at one point I knew it, and it's such a huge part of the level. Like the whole maze with the stump in there, it's such a huge part of the level. And I was just like, I don't know where this is. And it came up like 3 times in a row. And you know, sometimes you have a brain fart, right? And you won't remember something in that one moment, but the next day you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh, it's there. You know, the information will just be available to you straight away. And it will just be like, oh, I just clearly couldn't remember it there. I was a bit tired or whatever. And I just thought, oh, that'll happen to me. I'll remember it. I just can't remember it right now. But like 3 times in a row, I couldn't remember it at all. So I really stopped and really tried to rack my head. And I was like, no, I literally don't know where that is. I don't know where the stump is in the Rapids level. And then I had to wiki it. And, you know, quite often you'll get just a tiny piece of information. And then suddenly you'll be like, oh, yeah, I remember everything now. But like, even looking at the maze, I was like, where the fuck is this? I am happy to say that when I read on the wiki where it was, I was like, oh, of course it is. And it's because it's that area of the Rapids level where you find the hillbillies for the first time. And that's like a really dense area. There's like loads of hidden stuff. There's the underground hidden maze, and then there's, you know, the glitched side area stuff, the upgrade area. There's a lot of stuff packed in there, and the stump was packed in there as well. And so I think it may be vaguely forgivable that I forgot it, but it was pretty bad, honestly. And I am happy to say, once I remembered, I had that eureka moment where I was like, oh yeah, of course. You know, it's just there's 2 different levels to knowledge, right? There's recognition and there's knowing. You can recognize a thing that, oh yeah, so it's somewhere deep in there, but you can't get at it, you know. Anyway, right, so, do we do trib, or do I just move on to the other thing? Allow transparency. Well, that has just completely broken it. That's pretty funny. Let's try this again here real quick. That's just so broken, isn't it? That's unbelievable. Why is this so broken? Capture method. There we go. I was using the wrong Windows method. Okay. but still no BlishHUD. Alright, no, screw it. I can get BlishHUD on. Let's see it. I can do it. We'll just have to remember we're on display capture here. Let's see. Sorry about this, guys. I really hate doing it this way. Okay. We good? Alright, I think we're good. Alright. So, we have BlishHUD on. Let's go do Trib. And we'll progress from there. Just pretend you're an expert and not using BlishHUD? No. Actually, what I want BlishHUD for more than anything else is the other thing I think that's in the title, which is Bleached Bones. Oh, we're not even scaled properly, are we here? Sorry about that, guys. Do you see on the top left here now, I've got these 3 icons. What I use in-game Guild Wars 2 is I hide these icons when I'm not in combat, but Blish doesn't have that option, I think it is. Blish has... It's very good, isn't it? I mean, it really feels just like the Guild Wars UI. Dynamic HUD, they have always show or show only out of combat. But I have it on always hide, and I hold a hotkey to turn mine others on. And I don't really know. I mean, they sort of have hotkey stuff here. Don't really know how that would work, though. But yeah, you see, I can bring back my other icons. What I quite like, though, is that the 3 BlishHUD icons are actually cleaner looking and more crisp looking than all the other ones, which is, you know, that's quite an accomplishment there. But yeah, so what this is BlishHUD, but it's actually, I want to give credit correctly here, because I think over the years people won't do this. This is actually Tekkit's Taco marker pack. This was a marker pack made years ago by Tekkit. And it's really good. The only improvement I would make to this pack is they were exploding flowers there. You see how the line that I'm following is yellow and red. I feel like it should be yellow and green when you're quite safe to wobble around the path, i.e. there's no spikes. But when you're in there's that flower there. When it's really hazardous, it should be yellow and red. And then you know, oh, look, when I say there's a line here, follow the line, that means follow it down to the pixel. Because if you stray, there are spikes all over the place, you know? Because this is kind of, when you play like this, you get in a weird experience where, you're never quite sure how in danger you are. And quite often you're not in that much danger. But like here, there's some spikes somewhere along here, I think, if I remember rightly. But there's no real way of telegraphing. Ultimately, just staying on the path will see you through. But I mean, it's nice to have a bit of context as to just how dangerous things are, you know? But aside from that, I think it's really good. If there's really weird, cheesy skips, it says, okay, here it is, but here's the easier path. I think another thing that had even intended path would be nice, you know? It's like, here's the meta path through the level. This is time efficient and it's not too difficult. Here are the crazy skips, and here's the dev intended. Because quite often the dev intended is pretty cool. It's just much longer, and in some occasions much harder as well. So for example here, I've just chosen to go the dev intended route instead of a cheesier skip, which is this here, which is a very particular jump and a move across. But yeah, the marking of the rocks is nice as well. This has been weird because my internet's a bit worse here. These rocks, I swear, are lag related. I swear that they are. Oh, I'm surprised I didn't get hit there. Because I remember when this first came out, really struggling with that route because of latency. Because I was on NA. Oh, we made it. And And then for subsequent years, doing it on EU, it's been fine. But now here, where the internet's a bit worse, I've been really struggling again this year. It's either lag or it's just I got bad at the game over the year. Which is always a possibility. I still don't know what I think about the music here. I really like the music, but it just feels so ill-fitting, you know? Oh, really? There I felt like I'd massively cleared that. I jumped that surely early enough. To tell you what, I kind of don't like the music in that it's just so loud. And when you're going in and out of trib cloud moments constantly, it's pretty frustrating. But for World 1, it's pretty much fine. There's an absolutely insane skip here, which I do occasionally try. I'll show you when it is that I try it. And there, you see, actually, I don't follow the marker pack there. I feel like executing a jump dodge off of that tiny-ass little jump is just not worth it. Oh, I don't know whether I mentioned this. I might have on my very first SAP video. But another weird thing I did with Guild Wars is... okay, so my keybinds. You guys might remember I did a keybind video a while ago. I have a fucking crazy keybind. A really crazy keybind set up, or had. Which is jump. When you guys think jump, what do you think? Probably think the space bar, right? Yeah, for me, it's left control. For like 6 years, I jumped with left control. Deadly serious. And what I did was I dodged with space. Because I hate dodge on V. I know it's default, but I really hate that. Stretching my thumb to that. I think it's just the way that I sit and the way I hold my hands. I really, you have to sit a lot more up against the keyboard for V to be comfortable with my thumb. So I swapped those. Okay, here, this jump here. If I ever slide off this here, I'm going to be back down near the cloud and not near the checkpoint. So I'll try the crazy jump. And the crazy jump, okay, is that section over there. Which is really unintended, but very cool if you can make it. I don't see how I was in that, but fine. Yeah, okay, so I would jump with left control, dodge with space. That was my thing, and I had muscle memory for that. For years, I'm talking most of my, air quotes, career playing Guild Wars 2. My Guild Wars 2 career, that's what it's been. But this year, when I started playing SAB and doing the dailies every day, I found that it was actually hurting my little finger, because you jump so much, and jumping was little finger for me. And the way I was pressing it, it was just like... it would actually hurt a little bit. Not much, just enough to be vaguely aggravating. And I think I logged in on like the 3rd day or something, and I thought, I don't want to do SAB because my finger's going to ache. I genuinely thought that, and I never thought that before. But I thought it this year, so I just decided, I said, you know what, fuck it. And I swapped the keys. So I swapped jump and dodge. So I have been playing, this is probably one of the reasons I haven't been doing any of the endgame stuff as well, to be honest. I have been playing terribly because whenever I've wanted to jump, I've dodged instead. And whenever I've dodged, I've jumped instead. And I'm only just getting it back into my head. Like, I've only just sort of rewired that. And I'll tell you, it is a nightmare. Those are 2 of the most crucial binds. And then swapping them is just, it's a catastrophe. But I've sort of managed to do it. It still happens though, if I do my PvP daily and I'm like trying to kite, like I'm doing very little kiting and climbing on stuff anymore because I'll go to like climb on a rock or something and I'll just dodge in place, or I won't jump at all, or the reverse will happen, and it just really, when you're doing that, when you're also trying to pop defensives or whatever else is going on, so I'm still not perfect with it, but it's there. Anyway, so yeah, that's something else that I did. Swap those binds, and it is much more pleasant actually jumping with the spacebar, I have to say, especially in SAB. And I don't think I'll mess it again. The thing that's affected though a little bit is jump dodging. So a jump dodge, as far as I remember, you have to press dodge first and then jump, and oh no, I think you have to jump first and dodge second, and it needs to be within 1/10 of a second or something. And for the early years of Guild Wars 2, I really struggled with that. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. But at some point it clicked and I could just do it every time. Every single time. But now what I've done is I've swapped the 2 keys. So now I have to, like, within a 1/10 of a second do it, which is just awful. That's such a muscle memory thing. But here's the weird thing, guys. I still do the exact same thing mentally when I want to jump dodge now. The keys are swapped. So surely the order should have swapped. But I do the exact same thing in the exact same order, and I can still jump dodge. I think I'm slightly less... Like here, I'll jump dodge onto that. That's a jump dodge there. And we have to do those sometimes in Trib. So that's a little bit annoying. But some of these weird skips, I'm kind of not doing them at the moment because I don't know how consistent I really am, especially on really small blocks. But speaking of jump dodge, this is actually one of my most hated checkpoints in the game. This is so off curve, it's unreal. This checkpoint here is fucking brutal. So you see how I just used the elite to kill that spider? It's because I sometimes get caught in loops where I do this so many times in a row, that spider just ends up annoying me. Okay, so there, that usually hits me, and it didn't there, and I don't know why. Lag, maybe? But that's a jump dodge. Learning that jump dodge is one of the most useful jump dodges in the game. Because once you can consistently get past that without getting fucked, this whole checkpoint's so much easier. That is such a crucial jump dodge. And now this rock usually doesn't do anything, but that spider can mess me up. Oh, well, we actually made it. Despite chatting, we actually made it. So usually I end up eliting both of those spiders. Okay, and finally, the last horrible thing about this checkpoint is this arrow here, this hand. See, this is where the marker pack's not very good. The situation that we're in right now... I need to kill this monkey. The situation that we're in right now, okay, is all of this on the left is spikes. All of this isn't spikes, but if you just walked from the checkpoint, you're scared of being over there because there are spikes back that way ultimately that made us go across the lava. So what would be really nice with this pack is this pack suggests we can walk up here, here, and here, and we'll be fine. And it warns you about the hand, but if you do this route, this hand will kill you every time, and you'll have to do the whole thing again, which is really horrible. And because you don't know whether how strict this is, how dangerous we are, how much danger we're in, it's kind of like you just do the same thing. But it's all safe over here. So what I actually do to pop the hand now is this. Because there's no spikes here. There are spikes here, so you have to be careful going on the left. But on the right, you're perfectly safe. That will pop the hand, and then you get the checkpoint. So there you go. I just whined about that checkpoint, but did it in the first play. Here we're avoiding spikes very narrowly. This is where the marker pack's unbelievably useful. There's another one in a minute in the swamp level. Which is just like a crazy, I'm pretty sure dev unintended skip. Yeah, thought that was going to happen. You found Tech It off a little in some parts. I think it is off in some parts for sure, but you know, I cannot judge for that. These marker, I mean, years ago I made a marker pack for like PvP jumps and stuff. And they take work, man. It takes a lot of time to do this stuff. A crazy amount of time. And, I mean, they are really good. They're unbelievably good. And it does make me a little bit sad that people will just say, oh, this is BlishHUD. The actual person that did all this, I think, might not get the credit. They track on BlishHUD the amount of people who download modules, though. And I saw like 1 million people have downloaded this. Well, okay, no. Let me rephrase that. There have been 1 million downloads, which is definitely the same people downloading more than once. But that number is insanely high. Like, I never think of the Guild Wars 2 audience and community in the value of millions. There's just no way. Most add-ons are like, you know, they get like 2,000 downloads or something. But yeah, they apparently there's over 1 million people that have downloaded. And I mean, it's well earned because it's not just Super Adventure Books, it's everything. Like, literally everything. Every achievement, everything. I mean, clearly the guy gets a lot of enjoyment out of making them. But yeah, they're off a little bit in some places. You know, that's the thing though, and I've kind of learned this through my Solaris modding. You can tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak and make micro improvements, and they're real improvements and it's real quality, but you can do it to the end of time. You can even take a fairly basic system and just keep refining it. At some point though, you know, it would have been worth it to move on, and I'm sure that that's how they felt about this, you know. It's 90% there. It would be interesting to see this authored by someone else, though, to see just how different things can be. Because, especially when you watch speedruns, it's very clear the crazy expertise that people have, you know. But I find this is a good mix of what's practical and what's not. So here with Dig Spot, which I don't usually get in normal mode because I take the shortcut worm. You know, you don't actually do this checkpoint because the shortcut worm will take you through it. I've become quite a big fan of this level. I find it quite cozy. We have to attack while jumping on that last one, otherwise the barrel will kill you. And the marker pack doesn't really warn you about that. It's quite cozy and warm. I like little... I think my favourite two fantasy environments are cozy, like, wood areas, forest, lush, maybe a bit of rain, you know, sweet green forest, especially if they've got tree stumps you can go inside, and then, like, beach levels. I think those are my two favourites. Okay, I've messed this up and I'm really scared of that rock now. Ugh. Okay, it did kill us, but we got the checkpoint. And beach levels. I think beach levels are my all-time favourite, but, you know. Which is a shame, because on 12, we're right next to the Fawn Coast, and we haven't gone there yet. You don't remember how a certain... Hello, Tulip, by the way. You don't remember how a certain room does, so you order to do the skip. Which room was that? Alright. We're nearly done with Super Adventure Books here now, guys. Oh, shit. I went back into my normal mode mentality. I should have just stood still. We're nearly done with the Super Adventure Books. The Swamp level is actually incredibly short because of some of the community skips. Some of the dev unintended things have really ripped that level a new one, which is one of the reasons why this level feels a bit brutal, I think, especially with that lava checkpoint. Because, wow, I really waited on that angry rock a long time and didn't get punished. The lava room's, like, tough, and then the swamp level's really easy, and level 1's fairly easy. I mean, level 1 kind of bites back as well. I only did all of World 2 in Trib once this year. It's just so brutal. It just takes so long. It's so hard to do. I did it for, like, the annual Bauble Bubble achievement or whatever. So if we elite here, we can actually interrupt him when normally... Ah, never mind. I was one attack away. I know it's 27%, but that would have done 2. That's a shame. We were close. Ugh, those double hits. Alright, there we go. It's kind of good that I popped those spikes, because, yeah, they're really horrible. Those spikes killing you when you're trying to get the end chest, just nightmare. So here again, see, we're at 667. See, I think I need to go back to the hub and trade in now, if I really want. But, on the other hand, at the end of the swamp level, when you open that chest, you don't get a bunch of little baubles, you just get bauble bubbles. I think you get, like, 2 bauble bubbles. So actually, I think it's okay, because I'm not going to get a bunch of chests anyway en route. So it's fine. So this, by the way, this is the last of Super Adventure Books for the whole year for me. What you're about to watch, I'm done now. It has been interesting doing the dailies every day. I've been doing it for the Crimson tokens, of course, which I've been trying to avoid talking about. We'll have a look at them in a second, and my progress with that. It's occurring to me... So this jump dodge, this is a huge jump dodge. Really easy, because it's right at the start of the level with no hazards before it, really. I mean, I don't think all year I've actually been caught in that trap at the bottom of the stump. And it saves you so much time. You could fail this. Yeah, seeing if you fall, you just go back up. You could fail this 7, 8 times and still come out on top. Really worth learning this one. I don't know why I'm failing it so much here. I think I'm aiming too much to the left. Oh, what? Really? It's very odd. Usually, you can just jump dodge at that and then... Oh. You can just jump dodge at it and then let go of the keyboard. And there are 2 little areas, actually, that you can clip into it. That was too much on the left. I'm making this look a lot harder than it is. Most days I just do it in one. Yeah, so here I got the lower one, but you can sometimes get that one as well. And then the actual harder thing here is this cloud. You want to jump from the high point, not the low point. And then, yeah, that skips quite a lot of stuff. And some pretty tedious jumps as well, to tell you the truth. So yeah, doing all of the dailies, it is rough. It is pretty tedious. I think I got into a nice... Because my days have been fairly stressful, right? And fairly busy doing things. So I've kind of actually liked waking up. Like, my routine has been wake up, get a cup of coffee. I haven't done the coffee or anything here today. I'm doing it much later in the day anyway here today. But has been wake up, get a cup of coffee. Here, elite the monkey and burn the thing, if you're going to try this. This is dev unintended as well. There's spikes there, but that's a really good skip too. Wake up, get a cup of coffee, and do my Super Adventure Box daily stuff. And for most of the season, I wasn't doing these trib bits, by the way. I only started doing these when I decided I needed more Bauble bubbles. And it's been actually kind of nice and pleasant. I think if I was really like grinder mindset about it, and I was, you know, I just really wanted to be anywhere else or whatever, fine. But just instantly deciding, okay, this is what I'm going to do with my free time, and this is it. I don't know. It's been kind of nice and kind of cathartic. And I've said it many times before. I kind of don't mind grind. I quite like grindy games, and it's going to be weird next year when I don't have to do this anymore. I mean, they'll add more rewards, definitely, but now that I'm basically back on top with everything. Like here, this, whatever that trib cloud is that's going off, I remember that being a nightmare, but I haven't seen it for years now, because I always do this checkpoint this way. So we just made that very easy. I think if you watch my original blind run of trib, that was like an hour in that room. Those videos were so heavily edited down, and yet they ended up so long anyway. That was weird that I missed that. And here, this is the best. This is the marker pack. This is just beautiful for the marker pack here. These are all spikes we're about to walk through. Spikes everywhere. Massive, giant, killer spikes that you're not meant to pass. But if you get that pixel perfect, I'm not even going to say pixel perfect, but, you know, if you follow that route very closely, you just walk through it all. Oh, here we're going to use this because I don't have the elite. And we're going to wait so we get out of combat. Okay, that's fine. Amazingly, that's fine. I've never been hit by that rock and survived. And here, we'll try and get this dig spot if we can. I don't know if I did this on our normal mode one just a second ago. Possibly rambling about something. Also a very crazy dig spot, by the way. 2 crazy dig spots right before the bosses. You can actually see out of the level there. This one's so crazy. Oh, we got a bunny as well. Okay. Also, do you guys like my Christmas present, mini? I saw someone repping this the other day. Actually, I think there were like 3 people repping it all at once. And I thought, do you know what? That's actually a really cool mini. I really like the Winter's Day ones. I like the bouncy snowmen as well. I think now that there's randomizer, I might just favourite all of those. That would be pretty cool. Oh, was there not a mini randomizer? Wasn't there one category they didn't do a randomizer for? I think there was a mini randomizer. So here, I actually... Oh, why did I do that? Well, I'm literally in the process of telling you guys what I like to do. Here, what I like to do... Okay, if you have... Oh my god. If you have bonus heart canisters... Like from doing all the content now, because there's a lot, you know, there was an extra one they added, what, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Oh, come on. The marker pack says that you need to jump dodge that. I actually have never jump dodged it, and I've been fine. I died there, though. Let's go into the lily pad. If you have lots of heart containers, the best way to make this hassle-free is just to face tank all of his shit. So we face tanked one there. There's also a weird thing with the elite here. You can elite during the burn phase, but don't leave it too late. If you leave it too late, you're going to screw yourself over. Like, very often, I've got to, like, 50% health, tried to use the elite, but it hasn't gone through. Or I get it to, like, 60%. Tried to use the elite, it doesn't go through, and then I lose the elite and my damage opportunity, so I have to do three phases instead of one, which is just, instead of 2, which is just a nightmare. All right, there we go. So we have it. That's SAB for this year done. What? Why am I dead? He did not just respawn, did he? No. But now we have the really scary thing of being on a time limit to go get our Bauble bubbles with the deadly swamp. All right, we made it. Okay, so yeah, I'll show you guys my progress here now. The bonus level is only going to give us one basic bauble at the end of it now, because we already got the bauble bubble from our normal mode run just a second ago. So I'm actually going to skip it. You could get like, what is it, 40 pickup ones, but since we're over 750 anyway, perhaps that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to wait for the level to tick, and then I'm going to load up when we get into the bonus level. See, so we get this chest at least. That chest gives us some good stuff, but then also the token, which we can trade for even more baubles. Yeah, you just face tank the boss as well? Yeah, I think it's the right way to do that. And again, if you use the big bombs, you can make progress. I mean, if you're really good and you know that you're at the cap anyway and you're going to recuperate the ammo you spend on the boss fight, there's probably a use case for doing the bombs, but yeah. Okay, so here's my progress. This will actually get a bit... Sorry that took a while there, guys. Can't believe that was an hour and a half just doing that. I viewed that more as like a mini intro. So we'll get these bauble bubbles and then trade our tokens, continue coins, stuff like that, because I got the infinite one. And then the World 1 stuff, because we did all of that already years ago. Okay, so here's the situation. I don't have the plush S. I kind of really want it, because I'm doing my ascended accessory, my ascended item collection. So I kind of, to tell you the truth, I do kind of really want this. But I think that'll be a next year sort of project if I go for it. Because it's 64 bauble. 64? What is 64 times 250? I mean, it's a lot of baubles. It's crazy. It's the most expensive thing by far. And as I mentioned on the previous part, you know, the one I did at the start of April, I don't see what these do. Every festival has one. I think I will get it eventually. There's the Crimson Backpack for 128, which apparently I got at some point. I don't remember when. I have all of these. I have the Reality Rig Mark III now as well, which is new for this year. I don't really know what that's going to... Is it going to be Mark IV next year? An Ascended version, maybe? I don't know what they're doing with that. Because this one's... Oh, no, they're all exotic. I don't know. Anyway, so this vendor, I have everything unlocked from this vendor. Sparkling Stone. Now, he has the Retro Forge stuff. Now, this stuff looks cool. I really do like this. They started doing this last year, so I didn't have any of them, because last year, as I say, I missed a lot of the festival. But they have very cool trails, and they're, you know, they're yellow and pink, which is a cool mix. I've been playing Catalyst a bit, and Hammer Catalyst particularly, which isn't the best version of Catalyst, really. In PvP, I mean. But it looks cool with a lot of the Catalyst abilities, the spiral. So I picked this up. Each of these is 30 bauble bubbles, really pricey. And I think they added 2 new ones this year. I think the short bow and the spear gun, maybe. There's a weird mix, you'll notice, right? There's a lot of weaponsmithing ones. There's no artificing ones. And there's even an underwater one. It's odd. Anyway, I needed to get the spear gun as my last purchase. You see, I've got 43. But yesterday, I got lucky. I got that out of a daily chest. Which I've opened a lot of so we got 3 of them here to open. You see this? Daily chest? I got this out of it, which is uncommon. I've done it all festival, and I only got 1. So then there's Hard Light, which is rare from this chest. They're like 50 gold each on the trading post. I only have 1 Hard Light thing. It was from a guaranteed box last year, the Focus. So this is the weapon set I don't have from SAB now, Hard Light. And again, it's a thing from last year. 50 gold each. They are TPable, which is pretty rough. I just lied to you. There's another set I don't have, which I'll show you in a second. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, these are the last 3 dailies. You can't open these in the box. They're kind of badly coded, so we've got to go out to open those. But yeah, so Retro Forged is done. By the way, he's just a regular Coden outside in the hub, which is quite cool. Now, for the weekly trader, every week I've gotten all the stuff I need from it. So this is quite interesting, the Generation 1 things. You can only get 1 box per week. And obviously there's like 13 weapons in this game. So that's 13 weeks. But there's only 3 weeks of the festival each year. So... this is years to get all of these. Now, there is not a collection associated. That is 8 gold each purchase. There is not a collection associated with this. But if you want all the skins, It's going to take you years to get these 16 Bauble bubbles as well. It's no small amount. I think if you get right as the festival comes in, the first purchase, and then right as it leaves, the second, you might be able to get more. Like that one I just got there, I think is kind of extra. But yeah, I'm also going to get this Tyrion voucher. The nice thing about this, though, okay, now you guys have 5 hours to act on this advice, okay, if you're going to do this. You've got 5 hours. They are TPable. So, I just spent 8 gold, okay, buying that. I can only do it once a week. This is just like the antique summoning stones thing, right? I spent 8 gold, but if I sell this, I can get 25 gold. And I'll tell you what, guys, yesterday these were worth 30 gold. And last week they were worth 20. So I don't know where the price is going. Obviously, in a couple of weeks, these will go up, maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, you could just flip that. So you would earn, like, nearly 20 gold just for a couple of Bauble bubbles. Just buy it and then sell it. There is no collection for this. The only people collecting these are fucking diehard losers with nothing better to do with their time. Like me. So, yeah, I'm slowly getting those. They're on the TP, so I don't know what I want to do right now, because I kind of just want to buy these now, because they're probably quite cheap at the moment. They were 30 gold yesterday. I think because it's the end of the festival, everyone's getting it. In these next 5 hours, you're probably going to see a lot of people flip these, so the price might drop a bit. But I don't know. This might be the buyer's market right now. I really don't know, because I don't know anything about buying and selling on the TP. But yeah, I think I managed to get 4 of these this year. So that's a set. And then finally we have the big one. We already have all of these, and we already have all of these, and we already have all of these. Okay, but then these. Now, the Crimson Assassin stuff. This is what I've been spamming the dailies for. You get these boxes of goods, which give you the tokens. And then every, like, every 8 days, I think, you get a bulk of another 8 or something. So, this is brutal. I've done everything I can this festival to get these. Everything I can. I have been relentlessly doing this every day to try and fill this in. Now, this one is a collection. It's one of the last big... Because I got all the rare... Well, except the gold and the abyssal. I'm doing very well with collections, so I'm really excited to keep going with collections. So I've got to get Snargle's fanfic books. But this is a multi-year project. And I mean, I should have... If I had been diligent in previous years, I'm sure I could have had it ages ago. But yeah, I still can't... Each of these is 16 to buy now, and I only have 11. So, yeah, I just have to sit on these for another year now, and then another year, and another year. And finally, I'll get this with an infusion in it. But this is a crazy collection. The Crimson Assassin, really crazy. And I mean, it's funny because, you know, I am quite leisurely about this game. People might not think I am, but generally speaking, I'm quite leisurely. I'm usually not very diligent. The fact that I did every daily this year is, like, unheard of for me. I think all festivals, all time, I've never done that, ever. And, you know, this has been out for ages. And I don't even know if I'm going to get it next year. I might not have this beat till 2025. I mean, I might get it next year. But it's a huge collection. I've been wanting to do a big account tour this upcoming Christmas. But on that account tour, what I want is these done. But I'm not going to have it, so maybe it'll be next April. Maybe I'll put it off. Because I want to add the achievement point filter and see, like, festive collections just disappear, you know. I want to see these go away. But yeah, really crazy. I might have wasted some at some point foolishly buying Bauble bubbles. I don't know. But yeah, so there you go. That's Super Adventure Box. That's all of it. Hard Light, I could be buying on the TP. And Generation 1, I could be buying on the TP. Let's get out now. Open our daily boxes. And we just purchased something from the weekly trader. Which leads me on to the other... I wanted to do the scribing thing as well. I guess we're not going to do that because this video has already gone on quite long. I'm really happy that the internet is rock solid. I'm very happy with that. Oh, you're 12 out of 16 as well, Adash. Nice. Yeah, it is. It is rough. All right, so let's open these. See if we get lucky with anything. Probably not. No. Couple of deluxe boxes. All these tokens and things are just going to go back in my bank. Okay, but we just bought a Tyrion exchange voucher. So, what am I going to get? Geodes, Bandit Crest, Airship Parts, Aurelium, Leyline Crystals, Unbound Magic. What am I going to do? I'm going to do trade contracts, believe it or not. I have learnt a lot about Path of Fire. So the one other thing I started doing about 3 days ago is using BlishHUD a Path of Fire thing. So let's go back to my Ascended item collection, alright? Again, those out of the loop. Every ring, every accessory, every amulet in the game, I'm trying to get them all, okay? Because I just think it looks cool. So here's all the celestial ones and so on. I've done this a million times. So this is all fine for core, and I've started a raiding set as well. I only have one here. I could buy loads with magnetite shards, but we'll see where we go. These are going to be the new Jade ones. There's Jade ones in Wild vs. Wild. I'm going to put them there. These are from Heart of the Mists. Those will be the Wild vs. Wild ones. Okay, but here, what this is this is POF, okay? So here we have Grieving, Cold's Tormented Eye, Power, Precision, Ferocity, Condition Damage. Still one of my favourite stat sets, just like in terms of theme. The Gift of the Hidden Scion, the Morning Bell, and Janice's Stained Pectoral. I believe you buy these from the Tomb of the Primeval Kings, and you spend like the legendary bounty currency on them or whatever. But that's Grieving. Harrier here, I think this was. Power, Healing Power, Concentration. So these stat sets, during POF's actual heyday, I didn't buy any of these accessories. Some of them were meta, and they were good on different builds. But I actually didn't use them. I didn't play those builds, or I used, you know, alternate variations. And what I didn't realise is just how insanely expensive these are. There was a side to POF, right, where what you would do is you would grind for trade contracts. So trade contracts come from almost everything you do in the desert. Open a random chest, get trade contracts. Beat a random event, get trade contracts. So, for example, if I go to the desert here, we mouse over the Desolation, the bonus rewards, you'll see you get unidentified gear, and then a trade contract, or a pile of contracts, which means like 3, by the way, and then a key, and then unidentified, and then a treasure hunting kit, and then unidentified gear, and then trade contracts. So doing events gives it to you. And then when you do a meta, that Hero's Choice chest, where you can pick like an amalgamated gemstone, which you probably want, you can do that, or 100 trade contracts. They are slow going, guys. I mean, maybe if you do gold on all the Griffin races, they're quite quick. But they're slow. And you need 3,000 of them just for one accessory. So my project, like through most of this year, to be honest, has been getting trade contracts to finish my collection. I never had to buy the Elonian Transit Pass years ago. I've got it now. But it cost me 3,000 contracts. See, the thing is, with a lot of these down here, there are alternate ways of buying them. You can use magnetite shards and stuff, so you can get them nice and quick. But this is like 30 laurels, 3,000 contracts, and some of the sparking gemstone things, which thankfully are everywhere, and the economy's ruined because so few economies ArenaNet implement actually work well. But yeah, so I've been hardcore POF, really, and what you'll notice now, last time I showed up this collection, I did not have these. I've got the Anthem of Liberty, I've got the Transit Pass, but I still need now. So when Long Live the Lich came out, they added this new set, and it's the same situation here for the accessory. It's another 3,000. They never actually did 2 rings for the Living World. So this is Living World here, just to be clear. So these are the 2 from the Sandswept Isles. They didn't do a 3rd, I don't know why. This is Thunderhead Keep. Frodak Steel. This is Diviner's stuff. Again, was a meta set. And these are easier, right? These ones were fine because these were just the currency. But for some reason on this one, again, it went back to just lots of currency. And then here's the stat selectable ones from Dragonfall. But so to finish off POF now, I need one more. It's from the Long Live the Lich release. And I'll have everything complete. Oddly enough, Istan never had it. And oddly enough, because they did other rewards. Istan had a ton of stuff, but it was like the Astral and the Stellar. But as far as accessories are concerned, unfortunately, 2 of the releases weren't covered. Oh, the other one is a Star to Guide Us. It had like the Requiem armor. And it had a raid release. That release was insane because it was like the triple release, right? So it had the Mystic Forge, I think it was. And it had all of those, but they'll go down here instead. Or their weapons, so they're not in the collection at all. Anyway, and then we go to Icebridge Saga. And now End of Dragons and just some random boxes. But yeah, so I need trade contracts. Now, that's why throughout this festival, I've been grabbing those. We can open this as well now. Let's just grab the axe. Just slowly work our way through. So where does BlishHUD come in? Well, I usually just do the metas. But one day, a couple of days ago, I did my Super Adventure Box. I came to do the Pinata. Pinata is really good for trade contracts. Most people do Pinata because they're gambling on... because they think they're going to win the lottery, right? which is just foolish. They think they're going to win the lottery. They're not going to win the lottery. And then all they have to do is just stand here, right? And then eventually the Choya spawns and you hit it. But it's really good for trade contracts because during this meta, you get like the troublemakers, which you kill and you get contracts. And then like every phase of the, you know, the actual collection gives you more contracts, and the troublemakers keep spawning. So it's good. It's a lot more than 100. You get 100 from the Hero's Choice chest, and then you get all the other ones as it goes. But anyway, so I came here to do this, and I noticed that Tekit had... Again, I mean, this guy's insane. His marker pack is really crazy. He's one of the biggest contributors to the community, and I think not well enough respected for that. Set up a bleached bone farm. So if you remember in POF, there was like bleached bones on this map, lost Delgamore treasure on this map, busts of Joko on this map, Shadows provisions on this map, and this one... Can't remember. Something is on that map. But so, they've set up trails for all of them. And I've been doing them, and they're okay for trade contracts. I actually got a precursor doing this 2 days ago. I've only been doing it a couple of days. I got a precursor doing this. I got the Legend, 150 gold for free. Thank you very much. On the trading post. Obviously, they're not worth thousands like they were before, but that's like my third precursor ever. It strikes me that whenever I do a farm, I actually do end up getting a pre. The only pre's I've ever got was when I was diligently doing a lot of Auric Basin meta, and I got a pre from the Trest run on that. Another pre I got was when I was doing, now don't judge me too hard for this, the Engineer... Why is it nighttime, by the way? I wanted to do this during the day, because this is beautiful, what we're about to do here. Doing the Engineer farm, the Lake Doric leather farm, right, where you would be an NG with turrets. I got a pre with that, and then doing this, which is a farm. You know, I don't normally do farms, and it seems to me often when I do an actual farm, boom, I will get a pre, and I got a pre from doing this. So yeah. Anyway, you'll see every time I open one of these, I get some trade contracts. You can get as many as 25 though. So if you get a bit lucky, it's not bad. Anyway, so I've been doing this the past few days, and every time I've been doing it, I've been thinking, holy shit, this is an amazing tour of Path of Fire. This is like the... So I remember when... What am I looking for? Not the in-game clock. Not the in-game... Not the time. It's under... No, it's not under graphics. It's under general. Content guide. Thank you. I was blind to that for some reason there. We're just trying to clean up the UI ever so slightly. What have I done here? Oh, wait. No, I've messed this up. We're going the wrong way. We shouldn't have come up here. We should have gone along here. So when POF came out, right, I did a little video where I had reshade and stuff on, and I said... Guys, the game's... It was like a daily video. You know, when an expansion comes out, I'll do like daily vlogs of the expansion and what did I do this day and so on and so on. With End of Dragons, I didn't because I streamed the whole thing, if you guys remember. I don't know, in retrospect, what you all prefer there, by the way. But like with POF, I played it privately, and at the end of the day, I did a vlog. I did like that for a week and a half, 2 weeks. I can't remember how long. Anyway, on one of them, I had reshade, and I was running around like the Ellen Riverlands, and I was saying that, guys, this game is beautiful, this is gorgeous. And I really felt like I was listened to with that for a stupid reason, and that's that a couple of weeks later, there was a Reddit thread about Guild Wars 2 on like a proper subreddit, like on our games or something, you know, with a lot of traffic. And at the top of the thread, it was, and this is so rare, this like never really happens, someone was like, yeah, it looks really beautiful. Here, check this out. And it was someone had linked to my video. So lots of people had randomly gone to this video just to look at this random moment of POF, and they were all marveling at how beautiful the game was. Oh, by the way, I should have stayed up there and did the hero challenge. That would have been even more. And I've always felt that POF is a really beautiful expansion. The thing that held it back, and I think a lot of people don't respect how amazing POF was because the structure of the metas is so bad here. The metas in this X-Pack were basically just like regular events. They still are. Only recently have they had Hero's Choice chests with them. So there was very little incentive to do them too for a lot of people for a long time. And it meant that the maps just weren't trafficked like they could have been. ArenaNet dropped only one ball really with POF, and it was the metas. And unfortunately that was a huge ball to drop. A lesson they learned for End of Dragons, but hey. So I think this place is gorgeous. I think a lot of people haven't been here for a long time and haven't, you know, toured these maps and experienced them. And lo and behold, here comes this Bleached Bones farm, Watch where we go here, okay? So, I was just ranting, I'm mad that it's nighttime. I want it to be day. The reason I want it to be day is because POF looks best during the day. And unfortunately, it's, you know, it's night right now, so you're not getting the full effect. But, you know, like this place when it's the day and there's the sand sea storm all around you and stuff. By the way, we have BlishHUD saying, like, the sand sea up here in front of us. Think about where we've already been. We've been to the giant pyramids that, you know, the expansion opens with. We're getting a little bit of a look at a forged base here. We're going to go to every single gorgeous area of this map on this run. And we're going to be rewarded for doing it. As long as we care about getting trade contracts. And, you know, when I've been doing this these past few days, I've been thinking, man, I want to do a video. I want to make it like a daily video. I don't know what I want to talk about. I don't really have much to talk about with Guild Wars. I know I've just ranted relentlessly for nearly 2 hours about Guild Wars here. But I don't know what I really have as like a pointed discussion or something to have. But I really want to show this footage off because this is gorgeous. This is really fucking cool. So that's why I want to do this here. I want to show you guys my little trade contract farm to finish the last